Hello, my name is Adrian Riley. I'm Michelle Riley's father. She asked me to do this video for extra credit. About the Jacob Blake incident. So, background I have a background in law enforcement. I was a law enforcement instructor in Elkhart County. I'm currently the president of Social Keys Consulting. So, what I do is I facilitate community groups, I do public speaking, I run cognitive restructuring classes for inmates when I was working in the jail, and also when they come out. So, I do a lot of reentry work. I work with juveniles as well. Have background in that, so that's what I do. I facilitate a lot of groups, and the whole point or the premise of the groups I do is trying to help people get back on track, as far as you know I guess you can call it reintegrating back into society. I don't like saying it that way because they're already in society even before they go to jail, but just basically helping them maneuver through life in a pro-social way. A lot of these people came out of like a negative background and some negative things going on at home, and which creates some maladaptive behavior. So, it's just a lot of things going on, and I'm trying to stay away from some of the technical stuff and be pretty more just kind of common, I guess. When Michelle asked me to do this video, I was excited, and I don't like seeing myself on cameras, but I'm gonna help her out with this. And I think this is an important video to do because you really don't get to hear the law enforcement side of things, as far as training and why officers respond sometimes correctly, but a person that's not trained, or you can call it a civilian or whatever, don't really understand why certain officers respond a certain way in situations. And I was the same way because I wasn't before I got into law enforcement personally by accident. So when I was working at a work release facility as a case manager and facilitating groups, I was asked to go to the sheriff department to do the same thing there for the sheriff department. But the catch was I had to become an officer, a corrections officer. I said, okay, that's fine. I never had a desire to be an officer. It's not even really my personality. I thought, you know, so but there was a time when I was younger, I had any respect for law enforcement, and not that I was disrespectful to them in those encounters, what I discussed later, personal encounters with them. It's just how we grew up in the neighborhood we was in. It just and how they policed that area, people just didn't have a lot of respect for them in that regard. So, but and some level we knew they was kind of doing a job on some level, but we didn't really respect them, and I'll get into that later. So, and I worked that out as I got older. So when I became an officer, and you know, and I went to jail school actually before I went to sheriff department, but I'll skip that story. But so going through jail school and the training and the understanding the training and a lot and what you actually experience as a law enforcement officer, and not only that, as a black law enforcement officer, was very interesting. And I'm telling you, a lot of people, that's not a job for anyone. Like, it's a career and it's a craft, and you have to really be skillful at it, and you have to develop it, because it's not like a job like you working in a factory or anything. You really have to be in tune with yourself, honestly, to do something like this. So, what I'm going to do, with that being said, a little bit of my background, I'm going to watch the Jacob Blake video. It's right here on my TV, right beside me. For I won't skip anything. It's a very short video. So normally, how things happen, it normally escalate pretty quick, and things can get out of control, or things can be controlled very fast. But I'm going to watch the video, and then as I play it, I'm gonna pause it to explain what I'm seeing, what I think was happening, and what some of the stuff I heard in reports. But yeah, so it shouldn't. Hopefully, it won't take long. I'm trying not to do this video too long. Okay, the video. All right, there's three officers there present. So in the report, I heard that they attempted to tase him twice. So as I've been tased myself actually, and the reason why I was tased because I wanted to experience what it was like, because I didn't want to tase someone and not know what they're going through. So I wanted to have that experience first. So, it's a unique pain. It's not the worst pain I ever felt, but it's painful. So, um, and that experience helped me de-escalate situations where I almost had to tase an individual. I never had to. I was always able to de-escalate because that was a skill I really wanted to be good at. But yeah, so I never tased the individual. But one of the reasons one time I was able to de-escalate a person from a tasing because I told them, and I said this basically, and I said, look, I understand. I'm not saying you're not a tough guy. I said, I've been tased and it hurts. Like it's kind of what I explained to you a second ago. It's not the worst pain I ever felt, but you just really don't want to be tased. Not because you're scared of it, not that you probably couldn't handle it. I'm just saying, it's just like, why would we even need to go there? Like, it's just, if there's a problem, let's talk it out, whatever. Like, you really don't want to be tased, trust me. And so, what I was doing in that situation was just kind of leveling with them, because some people will take a taser because they prove I'm a tough, I can take it, and it's like, no, this is not what's going on here. Like that's why I played to that, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to show me that. I'm sure you're that. I mean, I don't know your background, but it just I don't want to tase you. It ain't no sense. It's not a macho man contest. What's happening right now? I'm just trying to get the bottom of what's going on, and he ended up complying. Because when I was saying it to him, kind of saying it like I'm saying in this video right now, smiling, I wasn't. I was presenting myself not to be a threat to him. Like even though he knew I had the authority to shoot him, rightfully so at the time, because what how he was acting, but I was able to de-escalate him because I always stay calm and keep my voice low. So that was worked out. So which leads to this. So I don't know what was going on, like what was the approach or what led up to the tasing, if that actually took place, because I can't see it on this footage. But learn how to de-escalate coming up to a situation is very important. But they on the scene, and it sounded like I heard a taser go off, but I couldn't see it, so I cannot confirm or deny that. So okay, now he gets up and he walks off. Now two officers are following him. Now you have to understand, as an officer, you come in, what you're trying to do is assess the threat, if there's any threat at all. So one, what people don't know, when someone is not compliant, that can potentially be very dangerous for you as the officer, because you have no idea why they're not compliant. Like if you're not having a conversation, you give them verbal commands, and they're not complying, so they could be compliant, non-compliant, just standing there in front of you and not moving. But in this case, you start to move away from them to go to the other side of the car. So in your mind, or I'll just speak for myself, in my mind, I'm thinking, what is this guy doing? And where is he going? And why is he going there? And as you try to reiterate, keep saying, I need you to, stop, or I need you to turn around, I need you, and he's not listening. So what is he going after? Because he's making a beeline. And according to the report, they said he had a knife on him already. Because when I saw the video the first time, I said, well, why didn't he just try to tase him again? Which I'm not understanding why the taser didn't work, because he's wearing a tank top. So when you fire a taser or you discharge your taser, so normally if something go wrong, either it doesn't work coming out, or if it attached to them or it makes a good connection, then it should, cause them to tense up, especially if it's what's called a good spread. And so if that happened, like I'm not understanding why it didn't happen, because they on a tank top. So I don't understand why it wouldn't have had a good connection, because it lasts for 5 seconds, and 5 seconds is all you need when a person is tased to get them under control and cuffed. And if it's not enough time and it's still moving, you can discharge it again because it's still in them for another 5 seconds, and then you can get control and do it then, or give them more verbal commands for they can comply. So I don't know. I'm not understanding. The report said the taser. I don't understand what went wrong with the tasing. So he's walking around the car. They're giving him verbal commands. He's not listening. And like I said, some reports say he had the knife on him, which why I personally think why they didn't go hands on with him to take him down, because you do not want to be cut or stabbed with the knife. So you're trying to keep distance. He walks around the car. He opens up the door. He reaches down, and then the officer opens fire. Okay, why would an officer open fire right then? Because it's a simple principle. Action is faster than reaction. So what I'm saying with that is that, okay, when he reached down, say he reached down for his license or whatever he's reaching for, that's not a lethal weapon. Okay. Or maybe he didn't have a knife on him. They said they found the knife in there. Or maybe he was putting the knife in there, he had it on it, and he was placing the knife back. I don't know. But whenever a person turns around and your mind looks at what's in their hand, by the time you register what that is and think about what to do, if it's a lethal weapon, like a gun, you're already shot. Like you're already shot. So at that point, when they're not compliant, they're not listening, they have what is called tunnel vision. They got a beeline. They're trying to get to the car. They open up the car door and they reach in. And then, you cannot wait. It's not wise to wait to see what they fully put out. Because if it's, like I said, if it's a gun, you're dead at that point, or you shot, because you cannot respond fast enough at all. That's just how it works, because action is faster than reaction. So Mr. Blake ended up getting shot 7 times. Now, the question is, with that, why would an officer shoot someone 7 times in the back? And that one is can explain. So, like, as a law enforcement instructor, one of the things we learn is biology. And you have to understand how the body works, how the mind works, how the chemicals in your body work, like adrenaline and things of that nature. So you're thinking there's a heightened, the situation is getting critical. Like, I mean, it's starting to escalate out of control. And now a person is reaching for something. And that, you go into fight or flight. There's adrenaline dump happen. So when you feel or make decisions and pull the trigger, if you're not trained enough to know how to manage that kind of response, so whenever adrenaline hits your body, like it just shoots into your body, your bloodstream, and you pull the trigger simultaneously, you won't even realize you shot 7 times. You'll think you made a shot once or twice, and you might have even unloaded the clip and not even realize you did it, because it was just adrenaline dump. And you just kind of, have you ever been scared and you're like, it just, or you took off running or you freeze or whatever. It just, that is that type of situation. And that's where training and drills come into play. So when we did some of our training, we had to be able to count how many shots we fired. So what that do is keep you calm, and it keeps you more conscious. And that's where this part of the frontal lobe is that all your reasoning to take place. Because once you get adrenaline dump or your emotions real high, all the blood runs from that. So your cognitive skills is not up to speed. So you're not making a lot of choices for, say, we call it, you're responding to your highest level of training. So however you train or experience life in that moment, that's how you're going to respond. So that's why training in drills is very important, or putting yourself and training in a way where you can get as close to a real situation you can, where you can trigger all the adrenaline dump and then learn how to train to manage that situation. Because once it happened, however you train, bad or good, that's what's happening in that situation. So as a result, it was probably, and I don't know, but it happens in not just law enforcement, any situation where it's a heightened situation. When he just fired 7 times. It just happened to be 7 versus 1 or 2 or 8 or 15 or whatever he had in his magazine. But that's it. It just wasn't like, I'm gonna plan on shooting him 7 times. He probably just like, I don't know, like, what is he for the? He might have seen something. I don't know, because the full report hasn't come out, and the best cam footage haven't come out. So I don't know what the conversation was or what. But that's what happened, in my opinion, concerning that situation, because it's very short. So key things to take away from the officer perspective: um, how you approach a situation, your body language, whatever. If a person is not compliant, how can you de-escalate? So some of the things I will ask is, if he's not compliant, I don't reach for power. Me personally, I don't reach for power. I'm trying to figure out what's driving them, or what are some values or something real quick. Because somebody made a report that said he was going to check on the children. So let's just say I come up, say, hey man, what's going on? And say he had a knife on him, because he was reported he had a knife. Now, what's the matter? What's going on? And I may have my weapons drawn, because I don't know if he's going to charge me with the knife, you know, and just like, hey, what's going on? But when you ask this question again, it's your body language. So if I had to do so, I'm not, what's going on? I'm not coming like that. It's like, hey, just like coming concerned, because I'm concerned, like come with a concerned tone of voice, concerned body posture, even though you're ready. Because I don't even have to have it here. I could just have it down because it only take a second. So it's just like, are you okay? What's going on? What can I, and he may explain or may elaborate, and it's just like kind of I'm having the notion that I'm here to help. I'm responding to a call. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So if he mentioned, hey, I need to go check on my kid. It's like, look, like, well, I need you to drop the knife or I need you to obey verbal commands. I want you to get back to your family. Just once you hear what they value, all you do is repeat back what they value to let you know that you heard them. So that's just some tips. I'm not going to keep going down this, but that's what I'm saying. It's your approach and how to do that, because again the goal is that everybody go home safe. So yeah, so that's the first approach. I don't understand what I don't know what approach they had with that point. So when it escalated, at that point it's escalating, there's no verbal command. All the rest of what they was doing, I'm not sure about the taser, why that didn't work. So the rest that were following them, shooting when they reached down, I mean that's pretty. I don't know what else. Like I don't know what I would have did in that, because if I'm steady yelling for some reason he's doing that, and I'm talking to him, you know, yeah, because if he didn't follow him all the way around and they stayed in the front of the car, he could have came up possibly with a gun and shot. It's just so the scenario, you don't know what he's doing, and that's the threat, and you don't want to wait to see what he's doing because that can cost you your life. So they was in a very difficult situation, which leads me now to talk about Mr. Blake. I don't know why that when they approached him, what happened with that, why he decided not to comply. But that's the reason why he was in that situation and why he was shot, because he did not comply. So earlier in the video, I was telling you how I had, the community I grew up in, we didn't have a lot of respect for police, but where they police our neighborhood. So I had many encounters with officers, checking my ID, where you going, where you coming from, all this situation. I was never, I was never shot at, never beat up by the police, nothing. Like I was never manhandled. None of that, because we just complied. I complied. I had officers draw weapons on me before in my early 20s, mistaken identity. And yeah, I survived the encounter. I'm here today because I let them sort it out. Like, yeah, what I wasn't going to argue with them. I told them, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that wasn't me. Well, we heard of the fight and they had guns. Like, that wasn't me. Like, just me and my best friend. We coming out of the store. It's like, well, we need, get your hands behind your back and stuff. We complied. It's like they searched us. Can we search your vehicle? Yeah, sure. They searched the vehicle. Once they realized we was clean, they let us go. So they let us go, and yeah, so that's why I'm here today, because I didn't argue with them, I didn't disrespect them. Why are you messing with us? And y'all always messing with black people. We can was thinking that, but we didn't say it, because what good was that going to do or help us? Yeah, and was we profile? Yeah, we was profile. Given where we was at, like I'm not gonna go in the video where we was at and everything, but yeah, but we understood actually why we was profiled because of where we was at, so it made sense that they picked us out of, what I mean, because I'll put it this way, we was in a where we was at the time, it was a predominantly white town, it was a small town actually. So, and it was a fight, it was some people we knew, they wasn't with us, so yeah, but it wasn't us, it was at that time. And that time of night, it was just a handful of black people, even out at that time. So, it was understood. We was more mad at the people that got in the fight that night. That caused them to even think it was us in the first. We was more mad at them, because we was like, why is y'all picking the fight? You know where we at. Like, we don't even really match the description of those people that even got in the fight. But they knew they was black, so that's it. They probably didn't give them a full description, because I know, trust me, if I showed you pictures of them and I showed you pictures of me and my best friend, like we don't even look anywhere near alike. So height differences, size, the whole 9 yards. So, but it was just black people. We understood that, so and then we were just like, it is what it is, and we know they was doing their job, because once their job was completed, they let us go. In every situation I was in with officers, coming home from a date one night, and I was with a young lady, and we knew it was a drug area where we was living at, where I was dropping her off at, and police rolled up like, "What you doing?" And yeah, just yeah, just sitting here. I'm dropping her off. We just had a date. Now it's funny. She was a white woman. I was a teenager. She was white, and she talking. Why are you messing with her? I'm like, hey, calm down. Like don't. We ain't doing nothing wrong. Like you don't need to be disrespectful. And I was respectful, and he checked me out, and he's like, it's fine. He let me go, and so that's why I understand with Mr. Blake's situation. That's why I said I'll say this. I don't understand why he wasn't compliant because I watch hundreds of videos as an instructor because we critique them to find out what's good practices and best practices and what don't work well in the field, how people respond the whole 9 yards. So we study these things to train other officers so we can be more efficient. So, but most of the videos that I ever seen was people was hurt, killed. Like 9 times out of 10, it was non-compliant for whatever reason, and it was very disrespectful. Like, and it just there's no call for that. There's a way to file complaints, everything. And I used to like when I was working as an officer and people had a complaint against me, and I used to tell them how to file it. And I didn't mean that in a mean way. I would literally say, you have the right to do this, and this is what you do. And yeah, this is my name, and whatever. And so I would encourage that. It's just like, yeah, well, like kind of handle situation. I'm finally playing. This is how you do it. This is how you do it on the kiosk. And I said, it's fine. Ain't no for hard feelings. It's just like, I didn't think I did anything wrong. I said, but I wanted to at least practice that because there are some officers that are abusive. And I would tell them, I said, and something may not even happen right away, but you need to make the paper trail because if anybody making it, do an investigation, because we have a saying, if it ain't in writing, it don't exist. So, and I would just encourage people to do that. Even I let them practice on me, or they thought, yeah, that's fine. That's fine, just long as you do it. Like so, it was fine with me. So, but yeah, I don't understand. And he had the opportunity to really model how to handle himself in front of the children, and I'm not sure why, but that's how you survive an encounter. And it sounds bad to even say that, but the world is the world, like how it is. So I address the world for what it is, not what I like it to be. So you will run across officers that abuse power and things of that nature. But if you want a better success rate in encountering an officer, ask the question like you don't, or make a statement, you don't need to see my ID, and why you need to see my ID. Really, it doesn't matter. Like just give them the ID. If you didn't do anything wrong, even if you did something wrong, just comply. Because the more you don't understand with an officer, when you don't comply, that means you are a threat. Because it not only means you're a physical threat, but it's like, why would you not comply? Like, what are you hiding? What are you doing? What are you up to? That's what that's communicating. And so, and based on the officer, it's like they will all handle it a different way. So all the counters I had, they always been successful because I was always compliant, respectful at all times, no matter what they said to me or how they said it to me. I remain respectful. And as a result, it's called mirroring. Because if I wanted them to be respectful, I had to be respectful. So when even I was a law enforcement, I'm dealing with inmates or suspects, and they're disrespectful. I was always respectful. I was, sir, ma'am. It's just, what can I do? I'll always maintain my composure for that, because I always want to I wanted to mirror the behavior that I'm displaying. So I'm not worried about what they're doing. I can only control what I'm doing in that regard. So yeah, that's my video. So I have led. If you have any questions or comments, you can give me a call or have Michelle get a hold of me. Like I said, I've facilitated many discussions on community policing and different things, and I've also did uh, like lectures and talks. I talk on various topics because I'm a public speaker and a trainer, and I facilitate. But yeah, so that's pretty much, like I said, it's a short video. It's a whole lot more I can go into. I'm not gonna do it on this video. But if you want a longer video, just let Michelle know. I could do a longer commentary if you have any questions. Whatever I can do to help. Like, this is what I do. So thank you for the opportunity. I hope this helps. So until next time.